What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to GmiasWorld. And right now we're going to be talking about some huge changes that Madden has coming to it from EA Sports. Madden 24 is going to play a lot differently than Madden 23. For those of you guys that couldn't stand this game, let me know right now by liking the video. If I see 100 likes very early, I'll know that a majority of you guys were raging throughout the entire process. Again, if Madden 23 made you lose at least one hair follicle, go ahead and like the video. If Madden 23 made you break a controller, like the video. It should be a ton of likes there. Now, if you love Madden 23, like the video even more. Like, I won't even know what's happening now because some people actually liked the game, some people didn't really like it. The gameplay, for me, wasn't acceptable in most cases, but overall, the team building was still pretty good. They took away a lot of things that we liked as far as the team building, and they upped a lot with the actual required components to actually gain speed and things like that. So we're going to go ahead and talk about a few things that's going to be changing. Now, one of the things that you may be able to adapt to when you build your ultimate team is using undersized players. Why am I bringing that up? The way that you catch the ball and the mechanics based on all the things I've been reading about with the deep dives, you're not going to slow down anymore on rat catches. Now, I know that sounds simplistic and it's like, why weren't they doing that before? But you got to understand, this is a sole licensed company, so they can experiment with free range. Like, we're going to still get the game regardless, because most of us that play the game, we enjoy actual football, so we want to play a football game. Now, there are other games coming out, there are things going on where it's like, okay, this game might be decent, but I don't think that you're going to be able to get away from the NFL trademark. And that's what most of this is about, because many other companies have tried to make games in the past, but the exclusive license is really hurting the majority. So that's the reasoning behind why a lot of these things that I'm talking about right now is being put out as new. Because realistically, if Randy Moss is running down the field, he shouldn't slow down to catch the pass unless it's underthrown. But when it's in stride, we've seen it. We know how the human body works when people are running in stride. But EA, over the last 5 or 6 years, because this has been going on since they patched Madden 16 because of the whole Brashad Perriman thing and, EA listening to pro feedback. So at this point right now, if you look at my squad, take a look at some of the players that I have. Obviously, I go crazy about Calvin Johnson every single year. I don't care what's going on. Like, this dude, he got to be on the squad. He's 6'5". Now, imagine this, right? Madden 24, that 99 speed, that 99 excel, he breaks off of an actual press or anything, man coverage, whatever. He just breaks off of it. Once he takes that step, if your quarterback can deliver the ball with enough touch, that's going to be a catch. Even with the way the KOs are, right? You can see it if you played the beta. If you get out in front, it's over, because they won't be able to knock it out. I think what's happening is a lot of the complaints that are coming in with the KOs is that they activate very, like it's overpowered. Like, a guy has the ball and he's running with it and it still gets knocked out. That should be a fumble. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was Peanut Tillman. It should be, well, not Peanut. Is it Peanut? Yeah, Charles Tillman. It's a real weird situation, the way that they've allowed themselves to get away from actual football. But now it looks like they're going back to that. Also, we're going to be talking about the actual blocking mechanics as well. But I'm pointing this out because I always go crazy about Calvin Johnson. I always go crazy about Randy Moss. Those are some of my favorite players that I've ever watched in football. And for me, I don't get what they gave me anymore. Even with these new receivers right now, there's a lot of skilled receivers. I don't get Moss. I don't get Calvin. I don't get T.O. I don't get Jerry Rice. I don't get all of these dudes that were like studs. I don't really get them. You know what I'm saying? Gonzalez's, Gronkowski. Who are these guys now? Maybe Travis Kelce. I like Travis Kelce. I think he's electrifying. But he's not like a guy that will go down there and burn you. You know what I'm saying? Even if you bring up like Jimmy Graham, when he was with the Saints, and they didn't know whether to distinguish him as a tight end or a wide receiver. He was burning dudes deep at 6'7". It's always been height and explosiveness. But now we may be able to get away with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, because if they don't slow down and speed is a factor, maybe we don't need to Moss as much, but we're going for the deep plays. Now, this is something that I want to make sure you guys understand, because depending on the type of theme team that you're going to put together, you may not need the players that we're thinking about right now. Like, you may not need a Burris. You may not need Brandon Marshall. You see what I'm saying? Like, so start to understand and gauge that a little bit so that it's easier for you to understand the way that your team building is going to go. Now, as far as O-line, I think this is going to be one of the better years for the run game. And back in Madden 20, when it was all run game, most of us despised it. So EA went away from it for 21, and then in 22 they came out with Escape Artist that was OP and it was just nasty. And then 23 they took away the mobility of the quarterback, and now pretty much it didn't matter if your quarterback was fast, slow, whatever. There wasn't a lot of running outside the pocket this year. All right. That's not a complete football game. If a guy like Lamar Jackson has speed, he should be able to use it off the edge and do things like that. Madden 24 brings that back. They look a lot more smooth. Escape in the pocket without escape artists, and it's more of a realistic situation. Different throw animations and stuff like that. But I want to talk about the O-line because they specified that players with certain type of attributes are going to actually be able to see who's in front of them and block them. And that's amazing to me because we've been asking for that again for the last 5 or 6 years, dude. Like, it doesn't even when Madden 20 was a running type game, dude still didn't block the people that were in front of them. You had to wait, like slow down and kind of wait to see if the guy would actually do it, and they would usually, pick the wrong person. This year, the run game will be different. So look, this is what you're gonna have to focus in on. It may be a year where strength is actually one of the more positive things that you have to go after with run block and run block power and all that stuff. We have to see that. We have to kind of figure. Now, as far as the height, I don't know if height will be that much of a factor. It'll probably be more to the awareness because the awareness is gonna trigger which person that they block. And remember, all this information that I'm giving you, I read on their blogs about the things that are coming and listened to some of the things that they were saying in their trailer with the review of what's coming with the gameplay. So if you're thinking about like, oh, I got to get the biggest, the heaviest lineman, some of those guys, like the rookie from the Browns, he's like 6'8" and he's a whole lot of man. He might not be the best guy, but we might use him temporarily because we're building our team in the beginning. But we may have to focus in on awareness if it actually matters. We all know that in this year's Madden, a guy can be standing right, like a defender will stand and look at the ball coming at him and not react at all with 100,000 rating of awareness. So they've done a horrible job in that aspect. But apparently, they look like they're trying to fix that. So we're going to give them a chance to see if it actually works out. So those are some of the major changes that are coming, and that's just on the offensive side of the football. The defensive side of the football is just like really, really crazy because the way that they're going to tackle and the way that they're going to initiate the tackling is probably going to be better than a lot of what we've seen in the past. They've taken away a lot of like the warp tackles for the most part. It's still in the game, but it's not as prevalent as it was in 22. All right. I don't know if they get away from it completely because I've seen a lot of dive animations in the beta, so we got to wait to see how that actually goes. But I will tell you this, I like the way the corners play and the way they pay attention, and it looks like zone coverage may be a different thing this year coming in 24. So there's some things we got to watch. Also with the linebackers, there's a possibility that your linebackers may actually jump. Like hear me out, dudes. Like, that's really, really crazy. So there's a lot more coming. As they continue to drop more information, you'll be able to find that here. Go ahead, like, share, subscribe, and I'm going to see you guys and girls next time. One love, y'all.